75 Hard is a mental and physical challenge where every day you have to do 2 45-minute workouts, one being outside, drink a gallon of water a day, stick to a diet with no cheat days, drink no alcohol, take a daily progress photo, and read 10 pages of a nonfiction book a day, all with the promise of a mental and physical transformation by the end. I completed this 75 days of voluntary suffering, and here's what happened. What's up, guys? Did you miss me? If you're new here, prepare to miss me because you're gonna hit that subscribe button and you're gonna see me every other Wednesday and occasionally on Fridays. My name is Cameron, and if you like watching people voluntarily ruin their social life for growth, you're in the right place. I want to start off by breaking up the challenge into days and how I felt during each individual day. So I started the challenge on December 15th, 2024. Yes, I know, it took me 10 months to get this video out. Okay, I know. The first day or maybe two were super exciting, but it doesn't take long for reality to set in and you to instantly regret ever doing any of this. I very quickly felt like there weren't enough hours in the day to complete the challenge, and this honeymoon phase was wearing off a lot quicker than I thought it could. This is when the challenge really isn't fun anymore. I started out feeling like a fitness influencer, but at this point, by day 10, I was definitely just a zombie holding a water bottle. I was extremely bloated and I didn't know why. I knew it would go down eventually, but you know, you're about 10 days in and you're like, something's gotta give here. It was also at this point I learned that 10 pages of reading when you're super tired can turn into an hour after you doze off in between each page. At this point, the only motivation I had was that I just didn't want to do this again, and part of the challenge is if you stop doing it, you're supposed to restart. Then again, the only person keeping you accountable is yourself, but I was very dead set on getting this challenge done and doing it well. It's at this point that I stopped posting about this challenge and I just started crying about it. However, routines do start to set in and you see the light at the end of the tunnel. But the thing I was most thankful for was that during all of my outside workouts, it had not rained at all. I spoke way too soon though, because if I hadn't experienced extreme weather yet, I certainly was going to. During this stage, it not only rained, it snowed! The snow honestly wasn't that bad, but the rain was actually miserable. Luckily though, I only ran in the rain one day, but that was mostly because me and my weather app had developed a toxic relationship where I hit it up just about every 5 minutes to see if it had anything new. By new, I mean a new forecast. It's like a... yeah, I hope that joke landed. I'm so funny, guys. Right? But this part definitely got a lot easier just because these routines had started setting in. But also one of the things that made this so much better was I decided to do my 30 days of no scrolling challenge as my New Year's resolution. And this could not have been more perfect. By this point, 75 Hard became 75 Easy because suddenly my 4-hour scrolling appointment had just opened up and I had a lot of new time in my day. Turns out when you stop scrolling for hours out of your day, you actually have time to run marathons, learn German, and hey, solve world peace while you're at it. I also finished my first book and then subsequently 2 other books in this period, which felt really good. And I honestly love to read, I just don't have the time. But this challenge made it where it was a priority and I started reading way more than 10 pages a night. This was also when I experienced the majority of my mental highs in this challenge because at this point it was just routine and easy. I was basically living like a monk with Wi-Fi and I was very at peace with that. At this point in the challenge, it was still pretty easy. I was just excited to be done so I could stop taking a daily progress picture every night. The amount of times that I would try to go to bed and then I would think, wait, did I take my progress photo? Oh no, and I'd jump out of bed to take my stupid photo. Oh my gosh, that was definitely the most annoying part of this challenge because frankly, like, I was like taking a progress photo every day for 75 days. Like, I get what you're trying to do here, but that's a lot of photos and that's really weird when you open your camera roll. Otherwise though, I was enjoying myself. I was just really excited for a day where I could actually do literally nothing. And that day did come. On February 28th, I hit day 75 and I finished 75 Hard. So I already talked a little bit about the rules of 75 Hard, but there's one rule that you get like full options in determining, and that is your diet. And for me, I am a teenager. I'm subject to school lunch and what my parents cook for dinner. Like, I knew it was not sustainable for me to decide that I was gonna go eat keto for the next 75 days. Like, that's That's not gonna work. So what I decided to do was that my diet would consist of eating one food from every food group a day. Easier said than done, I very quickly realized. And then eating 45 grams of protein, which it's honestly really sad now, like the amount of protein I eat compared to what I was probably averaging like 10 to 30 grams of protein a day before this challenge, and now I definitely hit 45 grams every day, if not more. But this diet worked super well for me because it was just adding things to it. It wasn't taking anything away. It didn't make this difficult. And I made sure that everything I had, like I have all 5 food groups readily available in my house, so it was no issue. And if I ever didn't get my vegetable for the day, I could sneak a couple carrots from the fridge and go to bed. There was one big rule though I did have to change. I mentioned that I was super bloated in that second period, and it's because I was drinking way too much water. It was about day 10 and I was talking with my parents about it and they were like, a gallon?
I don't think that's right, Kimberly. Like, I don't think you should be drinking that much water.
And sure enough, I throw it in one of those little calculators because, you know, you trust the internet on everything. And yeah, I switched it to 72 ounces real quick because I was not feeling good. I was actually feeling so awful. And by then, it also got a lot better because I wasn't bloated anymore. I was doing just fine. So I switched to 72 ounces for my own safety and health because who knew you could drown yourself from the inside. For my indoor workouts, I mostly focused on like stretching, Pilates, and weights. At about day 10, I picked up running just because I needed something to fill more of this space. And so I would either run on the treadmill or outside. It just depended fully on if I had done an outdoor workout or if I had time to later. The fact that I picked up running because of this challenge is still crazy to me because I used to not even run if I was dreadfully late to something. My outdoor workouts aside from running also consisted of golf and then occasionally taking my dog for a walk. I know golf is not necessarily the most physically demanding sport. I mean, I don't even think it's a sport and I'm a golfer. Like, I mean, come at me in the comments, I don't care, like that's a hot take, but I did count it as exercise just to help meet this quota. Again, I'm a teenager, I have very limited control over my life, and if you think counting golf as outdoor exercise is cheating, then you can go try the challenge for yourself. Rest days were something though I realized very quickly that I needed and I had very much so been neglecting. And of course, you still have to get an hour and a half of exercise in. So I mostly did stretching, walking, and sometimes like some putting or like other golf stuff that's a little less demanding. I think the biggest things people make too hard in this challenge are their diets and their exercise. Specifically with your diet, if you're trying to take away things, it can be very, very difficult. And I think that's just dieting like 101 really. But especially if you are very restricted in your time and you don't have time to cook a lot of meals, stuff like that, or if you live with a lot of people and you don't want to like eliminate things that are tempting to you. You also need to think about how many other things are being thrown at you in this challenge, not just your diet. So I think making the diet easy to follow and specifically adding things instead of taking away is a good way to make like the diet easier to follow and more sustainable for 75 days. As far as exercise goes, I think where most people go wrong with this is they'll go train like they're going to the Olympics on day 1 and then they can't even do a squat by day 3. I'd say honestly day 1 through like 10 is when you need to be the kindest to yourself exercising. I mean, I'm guilty of this too, but I think once you get to day 10, the routine becomes a little easier and you can kind of adapt and then start getting into these more explosive, demanding workouts. I learned a lot from this challenge, but I think the biggest thing I took away is just how capable I am. When I put down the phone and picked up the weights, it became all too clear how quickly and easily it actually is to change my life. Even something so little as reading 10 pages of a book when I didn't feel like it made it all the more satisfying when I got to finish my books. Following all these rules seems strict and even sometimes very stupid, but it's to teach you discipline and also to show you just what you can do if you do a little bit every day. I think if you're even remotely interested in the idea of this challenge and you have the availability to do it, do it. You learn so much about yourself and it creates the perfect conditions for mental and physical growth. However, you need to realize that it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. I think that was the biggest thing that helped me, is knowing that the hard times would come and just actively preparing for them so that I could passively get through them. Just think through the full challenge and how that would be incorporated into your life, and then the longevity of it. And if you can check some boxes and feel like you should do it, I would suggest doing so. So that's how 75 hard went for me. If you think you're gonna try it out, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I post every other Wednesday and occasionally on Fridays, so don't miss me too much. Bye!